Hi! In this video we are going to dive into conditional selection. That is one of the most used control structures that can be applied in any language, although we are going to see how they work in Python. In this case, a condition selection allows us to perform different instructions depending on not some condition is true. For example, here we define a program that has instructions that are performed one after the other. So there is an assignment, a print, an operation, and a print. So this is the same process that we carried out so far. But in some cases, we want to have different paths depending on some condition. So here we define a variable x with value 5, and here we represent a conditional selection. So depending on whether or not this condition is true, we give different paths. For example, if this is true, we may want to print something, and if it's not true, we may want to compare another condition. So basically, this allows us to define different paths and to execute different instructions depending on these conditions. And the way in which define this conditional selection is by using the if statement. So the if statement allows us to define this condition. Basically, you can read this as follows. If x is lower than 10, then execute this instruction. If x is greater than 20, then execute this instruction, and then execute this instruction. Take into account that here we use the indentation to provide the code that we want to execute inside the if block statement. So here, this code is inside the if block statement. This code is inside this if block statement, but take into account that the program will do all these instructions that are in the same level of indentation. So first, the program will define this, then the program will compare this, and maybe it can print this. Then the program will compare this, and maybe it can print this, and finally the program will print this in any case. So this if statement, if instruction can be complemented by an else block of code. In this case, we use the else statement to perform different actions that we want to carry out in case that the condition of the if is not satisfied. So, if condition 1 is not satisfied, we perform this action 1 and action 2. Sorry, if condition 1 is satisfied, we perform these actions. Otherwise, the else block will be executed. That is, these actions are carried out in case that condition 1 is not satisfied. Here you have an example. If this is true, then this print will be shown. Otherwise, this print will be shown. Take into account that this otherwise, this else, refers to any case that is not true. So, can be greater, but can be equal as well. And here, let's see an example of how this could work in order to understand the behavior of this conditional selection. Well, here we have some code in which we ask the user for some numbers, and we have an if-else statement in order to compare the values of these numbers. And finally, we have a final print in order to show which is the greatest number of both. When? Let's think that this is the memory of the main program in which we are going to see the variables and the values at each moment. At the very first beginning, we are asking a number for the user, and we are storing this number into variable x. Let's say that we introduce -9. So here there is a variable defined whose value is -9. Then the program executes the next instruction, that is this one, and asks for another number to store it in variable y. Let's say that we introduce 5. So here is the variables and the values at this moment. The next instruction is this comparison. So we test whether or not this condition is true. Here we are comparing if x is greater than 9. Sorry, if x is greater than y. In this case, this condition is not true, since -1, 9 is not greater than 5. So automatically the code goes here and executes the else statement and the actions that are inside the block of the else statement, that is this. So here we define another variable called max, whose value is y. In this case, we copy here the value of y, that is 5. And finally, we carry out this print that shows this message in the terminal. So the larger is 5 in this case. So the if statement allows us to define different conditions, and depending on whether or not these conditions are true, we can execute different instructions. And also the else statement can complement the behavior of the if, but providing some instructions that want to be executed in case that the condition of the if is not satisfied. Thanks for watching.